One of my goals for the year is to draw and doodle more regularly, so I decided to buy myself a new set of Posca markers in the size PC3M or 0.9 to 1.3 millimeters. I love that there's a certain amount of detailing and finer line work that can be achieved with these smaller nib markers in comparison to the next size up. I bought the smaller set of 15 markers, and I think this is a great amount to start with because there's a decent variation in color, with colors like red, orange, and blue having a good range of values to choose from. The main reason I bought these markers was because I want to doodle more as a way to strengthen my drawing skills while also trying to loosen up that creative side of my brain. I found that working with a more permanent medium like markers really forces me to slow down, make more strategic marks, and it builds up my confidence in my drawing abilities. Now, when I first started with this large page, I was hesitating and overthinking every single line that I intended to make. This doodle right here turned out a little wonky and not quite as I intended, but that's because I wasn't allowing myself to really let loose and draw as freely as I could be. I wanted every mark to be correct, even though doodling should be a light and fun and almost mindless activity. But after a few more doodles, I was able to let go of expectations I had subconsciously set for myself and allow my mind to flow out through the marker and onto the paper. As an artist, I think it's hard sometimes to let myself create things without expectations. I have such high standards of what I expect my work to look like right from the start, so to do an exercise like this where I let go of expectations is difficult but rewarding. Doing this helped me to discover some new ideas for greeting cards, as well as inspired some concepts for full illustrations that I'd love to develop further down the road. I realized that having fun, discovering a different way to draw something, and coming up with new ideas should be the whole point of doodling. Yes, it's mindless and it's fun, but it can also lead to some great ideas once you do open up your mind to the process. Now, are all of these doodles a masterpiece? No, not by any means, and they shouldn't be. I tried to draw as many random things as I could without looking at any kind of references, and I drew some objects in a way I never thought to before, and I really like how they came out. By the time I finished this entire page, I already felt so much more confident and prepared to draw whatever random thing someone could possibly think of. And here's some of my favorite doodles, which include this carrot, this light bulb, this pinwheel thing, and this chicken. Something about this process that I really enjoyed was breaking down all of these things into simpler shapes and lines. It encouraged me to try pushing the limit even further to see what I could turn even the most simplified shapes into. So I thought making doodles of different shapes and blobs could do just that. Earlier I mentioned this small set of Poscas has a pretty good range in value for a few colors. This is especially true for the red and orange in this set. I intended to make this entire page in the shade bright yellow as I did with the pink, but quickly realized I didn't want to color in all these shapes with one color, so I decided to add orange into the mix and then eventually move on to red. I think this gradient effect looks awesome and probably even better than an entirely yellow-orange page would have looked. I wanted to make all of my shapes and blobs into creatures of some kind, so adding faces and limbs was the next step. By this point, I was feeling good after completing the pink page of doodles, so I felt a lot more confident in my ability to tackle this page as well. I think my favorite part of doodling is that it really is something that anyone can do. You don't have to have any sort of creative ability to do it, just a piece of paper and something to doodle with. And I am always 100% on board with those highly accessible, self-expressive outlets. Now, there is a difference between doodling to help pass the time, or to overcome a creative block, or even doing it during a class or meeting to help remember information better. Regardless of the reason, I think regularly doodling can be beneficial in a number of ways. I personally enjoy doodling as a way to pass the time, as well as express myself without giving much thought to what I'm creating. Completing these 2 pages full of random things and shapes helped me think of so many new ideas for future projects, and it allowed me to feel more confident in myself and what I'm capable of as an artist. Really, I just love how doodling can help people in so many ways, and as I mentioned earlier, I love how accessible it is. No fancy materials are required for this activity, and while these Posca markers are fun to use, they are definitely not necessary. As for this orange and red page, I am pleased with the gradient effect as well as all the little creatures I was able to come up with. Here are some of my favorites, including these 3 who kind of have their own story being told. I hope I have managed to inspire you to go pick up some kind of writing utensil, some paper, and to go doodle to your heart's content. I also hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and as always, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!